The Iona Pro Wrestling Podcast. Carl Coulange alongside Ruben. Ruben, how's it going, man? How you feeling?
I'm good, just trying to survive this Corona break, watch some wrestling. The only thing we can do right now.
Yeah, man. So today we are here to talk about tag team and pro wrestling. And, we want to try to give as many different topics as possible. So we figured we'd run down our top 5 list of tag teams. So, Ruben, you ready?
Right, I'm ready.
All right.
Interesting.
Let me give you the first one. Go ahead, man. Who's at your number 5?
At my number 5, I think for me, it would have to be the Brothers of Destructions, Undertaker and Kane.
Okay. Why are they at 5? What makes them special to be at least in your top 5?
I think they made it special because they obviously in their own right in single stars, they're big stars. But when they came into being the Brothers of Destruction, they came at a time where people, I guess, we didn't really need them, but they gave us like that wow factor. It's like, damn, these two are in a tag team. They're really gonna try, to get take names and put butts down, and I think they did that. I used to love watching them face other tag teams, during the Attitude Era and everything.
But my number 5, I'm going with the Harlem Heat. Harlem Heat, WCW. So I had to pick Harlem Heat. I did some research and just looking up, they were 10-time tag team champions in WCW. That's a record there. And they also went into the Hall of Fame, WWE Hall of Fame in 2019. Just their chemistry, just the attitude. They were managed at one point by Sensational Sherry.
Right.
We all know Booker T broke off to become the five-time WCW champion. Stevie Ray never really got, I guess, a big singles push like Booker T did. But just them as a tag team, if you're going to talk about the greatest tag team in WCW history, there's no way you cannot mention Harlem Heat. All right, so who you have at 4?
At 4, I got your boys, Edge and Christian.
All right, talk about it. Why you have them at 4 for you? What's up with Edge and Christian? Well,
for me personally, I feel during the Attitude Era, it was 3 tag teams. It had to be the Dudley Boys, the Hardy Boys, and Edge and Christian. They were good. They were shown as brothers, right? They had the brother thing as well. And with the Dudley Boys and Hardy Boys, they made some amazing matches. WrestleMania, one of your favorite matches. The spear off the ladder to Jeff Hardy.
Yeah, 17. Yep. Yeah.
So they were part of that movement. They kind of started like that tag team revolution. With those 3 tag teams. So, but for me, Edge and Christian, they're not as high as the Dudleys and the Hardy Boys for me. So that's why they're 4th.
Okay, cool. So Brothers of Destruction, then Edge and Christian. All right. So I got Harlem Heat at 5. Number 4, I got the Hart Foundation. I'm going a little old school there.
So you're going historic, okay?
Yeah, just a little bit, because
that's good. Yes,
good. I like some old school tag team. And when Bret first started in WWE, he wasn't that good on the mic, so they put him with Jim, his brother-in-law, and it was golden because Jim was the mouth and Bret was the wrestler. So it was a great tag team, and I just love to see pure technical wrestling, and I love Bret Hart. And Bret even cracks my top 5 all time. Just because he was one of the greatest technical wrestlers, the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. And then you put him with Anvil as the mouthpiece. To me, that's just a good chemistry there. So I got them at my number 4. All right, who you got for number 3?
Yeah, number 3, I already talked about them. For me, is the Dudley Boys. I think they were a tag team. They weren't the most athletic looking, right? We could say that they weren't the most athletic looking, but they came from an ECW background.
Absolutely.
And man, when you saw them fight, those guys put their bodies through everything, man. The tables, everything. They brought that kind of funk, that we fans that they love, Devon, get the table. It's a famous catchphrase, and I think they did it to the best of their abilities, and they're one of the greatest tag teams. And of course, they were part of the trio, the Hardys, the Edge and Christians, and the Dudleys.
My number 3. Like my list serves me right. I got the Hardys at 3.
Ooh, the Hardys at 3.
I got the Hardys at 3, right? So, I went a little old school with Harlem Heat and Hart Foundation. Now we're getting to what you're talking about in terms of, 3 that revolutionized tag team during that Attitude, ruthless aggression kind of esque era. But mostly Attitude Era. The Hardy Boys, 9-time tag team champions. They were the best. There's nothing better than, Team Extreme, right? You add in them, Jeff Hardy with the Swanton Bomb. I remember at Royal Rumble 2000, him doing the Swanton Bomb, the taxi cab. Just endless Swanton Bombs. Matt Hardy, Twist of Fate. The Hardy Boys is just, like you said, they revolutionized tag team wrestling during that era. And there's no way when you talk pro wrestling, you don't talk about those guys in your list. So they're my number 3. So top 2, who you got at 2?
Number 2, the guys that never went to WWE, the Young Bucks.
Okay.
I feel those guys are crazy. Not only because of in-ring skill, which are amazing. They're known to do crazy moves. Every single move set that you can think of, they do it. Swanton bombs, suplexes, everything. They do everything. But for me, they self-promoted themselves to a standard that is so high without WWE's help. They're one of. Come on, you should know the Young Bucks, even if you don't even watch WWE.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
If you're a wrestling fan.
Yeah.
They got the DVDs, the books. They part of the elite. And they're in AEW doing good things. So for me, the Young Bucks as a present tag team, I think they're one of the high established points to be at.
My number 2, this one was tough because I wanted to put them number 1 because I love them so much, and you already had them on your list. I wanted to put them in number 1, but if I wanted to not be biased, I think they get 2. Edge and Christian go 2 for me. Edge and Christian 2, 7-time tag team champions. Edge went in the Hall of Fame in 2012. I think what makes them great too is the fact that they both were successful individual competitors. They could be a tag team together. They started out as a trio in the Brood with Gangrel, which was great, and then they were their own tag team. But again, as you said before, they revolutionized that era of from the time of 1999 to 2001. It was a battle between those 3 tag teams. The Hardys, the Dudleys, and Edge and Christian. And Edge and Christian came out on top, I believe.
yeah, they did.
They came out number top in WrestleMania 17, WrestleMania the year before that, 16, they came out on top. So Edge and Christian, I think there was a TLC ladder match at a SummerSlam in 2000. I think they won that one too. Who could ever forget the 5-second pose? Like character. So who do you have as your, well, before we do that, so your number 5 was who again?
The Brothers of Destruction.
Brothers of Destruction. Then you had the Hardys.
No, the Dudleys.
The Dudleys.
The Dudleys, Edge and Christian, the Young Bucks, and then for number 1, of course, I have to have them there, the Hardy Boys. For me, the Hardy Boys, I have to put them there because they're one of the longest reigning tag teams, I guess. They just like last year, 2 years ago, they were still a tag team. They're still
when
here.
They came out,
people love them. No matter, people love them. They got the longevity. I feel bad for Jeff's body. He's been going through so much. Matt Hardy both had individual success, I guess you would say. Jeff Hardy won the championship, WWE. I'm not so sure about Matt, but together they're amazing. All these years, they revolutionized. Again, like we keep saying, and they stuck with it for a lot of years.
But my number 1, I think you know where my number 1 is. They take it
Number 1, Dudleys?
Yes, the Dudley Boys, man. Listen, I told you I wanted to put Edge and Christian 1, because they're my favorite. But if I had to really break it down, you're talking about pro wrestling tag teams. The Dudley Boys, and this is what I found, that the Dudley Boys are the only teams to TNA Tag Team Champions 2 times, NWA Tag Team Champion 1 time, ECW 8-time Tag Team Champion, New Japan Pro 2 times, 10-time WWE Tag Team Champions. They're the only ones who've won at every single promotion that within the last year, in terms of the last 20, 30 years. So if you're really breaking down tag teams, the Dudley Boys, the other part of it is when they tried to go singles, they couldn't do it. So Bubba Ray was on Raw, and then you had Deacon Devon with Deacon Batista. It didn't work as singles competitor. And then eventually they ended up getting back together. So they also went into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2018.
Correct.
I think the Dudley Boys, in my opinion, the greatest tag. Like you can't mention tag team wrestling and not mention the Dudley Boys.
Without the Dudleys. Correct.
Yeah. So, but I think our list definitely highlights everything that people would mostly talk about in terms of tag teams. I mean, both of us have the top 3 tag teams: the Edge and Christian, Hardys, and the
right. You can't go wrong with any of them. You know, they each in their own right. They deserve to be at the top.
For sure, absolutely.